Okay, so here's my sketchy on heart murmurs. So I use these two pictures as the main reference, and like I made like a thing that represents this image here, because the areas are really important because they'll tell you, the left upper sternal border or the right upper sternal border. Even that alone can give you some really big clues. And I also incorporated the kind of heart sounds, the shape of it. So like these lines are holosystolic, S1 to S2, crescendo, decrescendo. This is the decrescendo after S2. There's the mitrostenosis snap, and then like a rumbling murmur after that, and the PDA machine-like murmur all throughout. And I kind of incorporated that too. Okay, so here it is. It's kind of like a map. So this is the a water park, of course, and that's the sternum, and the right side, left side. So I made those. You can really see right side's this thing, and then here's the like the mid sternal kind of area, and then the lower sternal border. Oops. I'm always running out of battery. And then these are mitral things, because remember it's over at the midclavicular line, and this is like the tricuspid there, the lower left sternal. Okay, so I'm gonna go through it one by one. So first, on the upper right sternal border, that's where you're gonna hear aortic stenosis. So there's a big R for the right upper sternal border. You can see a little aorta hat on that R, so you notice the aorta. I found a picture of 3 stones. Looks a lot like a tricuspid valve, like the aortic valve, and they're stones, so stenosis. Okay, and then the shape of the pool that the R is in, this is the R stenosis pool, and it is a diamond shape, and that's similar to the crescendo decrescendo for S1 and S2. So you know aortic stenosis is the crescendo decrescendo systolic murmur. Okay, so that's all the only thing on the right side. And then on the left side, on the top, the left upper sternal, you got the L pool. This is a very exclusive pool, so you have to have a palm scanner for entry. Palm scanner entry only. That's represent the pulmonic valve, pulmonic. Okay, so you can listen to murmurs for the pulmonic valve in the left upper sternal border. Also in the pool, we have a couple here, just kind of having some PDA going on, and they're also doing right next to this this jet here, so the jet machine. So it's kind of like a PDA constant machine-like murmur, left upper sternal border. Okay. So now we're going down to just like the normal area, I guess, or the mid area of the sternum. And there's a few things going on here. So first, you'll see this 2 with the aorta hats. So you can see the water's going down. So this is like aortic regurgitation. That's what that represents. And this flag here represents a decrescendo murmur that starts at step 2, at S2, so in diastole, and that's what the shape of the sound looks like. And also in this area, you can hear hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. So this 2-shaped aortic water slides kind of lead into this hypertrophic cardiomyopathy kiddie pool. So they're both in the same area. So now let's look at the kiddie pool. So it has a shape, that's a hypertrophic heart, looks like that. And notice it's also diamond shaped with an S1 here. So it's a systolic crescendo, decrescendo murmur, same as the R pool with the aortic stenosis. So you can remember that. Now you see a little kid here with a diaper kind of squatting like he's gonna poop. Well, Valsalva value diapers, they're the worst diapers. They're cheap diapers, they leak, so they're gonna make the pool a worse experience. So Valsalva maneuver makes the HCM murmur worse, which is notable because it usually makes murmurs better. but with HCM, if you decrease the preload, which happens with the Valsalva maneuver, it actually gets worse because it allows, it kind of like, you're not able to stretch out the heart as much. It doesn't pull those weird abnormalities away, something like that. But anyway, it makes it worse. So that's how you can remember Valsalva makes it worse. Valsalva value diapers. Okay, so now we're making it to the lower left sternal border. We have the two things here. One, tricuspid valve. That's where you hear the tricuspid valve problems. So anything like with the right heart, you know, and I made 3 antennas on this TV. So like a tri antenna, you can remember tricuspid valve with that. And also, if you look at the TV, it's kind of an old TV, and these lines here, they're not like, they're kind of grainy, you know, kind of suck. So it's a very standard definition. So it's VSD, very standard definition. That's a holosystolic murmur. So remember the lines just kind of uniform like that from S1 to S2. Okay, and I call it holosystolic static. Okay. But so that's it for the lower left sternal border, tricuspid, and the ventricle septal defect. And if you go to going more towards this way, on the patient, you're going more towards the left. Now this is in the midclavicular area. We have another TV, but it's a mighty clear rendering. Look how sharp those lines are. Yeah, it's really sharp. So, mighty clear for mitral at the midclavicular line, and rendering because of regurgitation. I'm talking about regurgitation here. So, when you have a holosystolic murmur like that, that's mitral regurgitation. It could also be, like we just said, ventricle septal VSD. So they have the same murmur. So holosystolic static again. But in this area you can hear mitral anything. So these are all the mitral things you can hear. So one is the mitral regurgitation. So that's the TV with the rendering regurgitation. You can also have mitral stenosis, and with mitral stenosis, you hear a stenosis snap. So mitral stenosis snap. So for that, we have on the TV, we have 2 snaps with infinity stones. So and the 2 is because you hear the stenosis snap at S2 when diastole. So when you're, it's like an opening snap. So and the mitral valve snaps open because it takes a lot of pressure to get it to open. So the mitral stenosis snap at S2, and then there's a rumble after that when the blood's coming in through that stenotic valve. And you can remember that with infinity stones, because right after they snapped, the whole world rumbled, the universe rumbled. Okay. And so that's mitral stenosis. And the last one here, we have mitral prolapse. And this is a pro remote. It's just like, it looks really cool. It's got lights and stuff, so it's a pro remote. And you have to click it, it makes clicking sounds. So that's how you can remember the mitral valve prolapse makes it click. And there's a big 1 in the center. And that's for S1. And it's in the middle of the remote, so it's mid-systolic. So a mid-systolic click for mitral valve prolapse. That's when it like balloons open or something. Just you hear a click. Zooming out, review. You got on the right side, you got aortic stenosis here. Okay, in the right upper sternal border, it's a crescendo decrescendo murmur. On the left upper, you have the pulmonic valve with the palm set scanner, and you can also hear PDA at this area with the machine murmur. Below that, there's 2 things: the aortic regurgitation with the 2. So that's to remind you it's in diastole. So at S2 you hear it, and it's a decrescendo like the flag. And then right there you also can hear the hypertrophic cardiomyopathy with the kiddie pool, and with Valsalva maneuver it makes it worse because those are horrible diapers. and it's a diamond shape, so crescendo, decrescendo. You got the tricuspid valve now at the lower left sternal border, and you also can hear ventricular septal defects with a holosystolic static. Right, and this is very standard definition TV. But if you go to this side where the mitral valve is, it's actually mighty clear. Mitral valve at the clavicular, mid-clavicular line with a clear rendering for regurgitation and holosystolic static. And then you also can have the 2 infinity stone snaps here. So at S2, you hear the stenotic snap, the stones for stenotic, and then the rumble. And then the prolapse, you click the remote because at S1 in the middle, so the mid-systolic click, you can hear that with mitral valve prolapse.